Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community would be very noisy indeed as we went racing with the 85 Mazda Rx-7. While cars were built to C-Class and you could do almost whatever upgrades you wanted to them, they had to be kept with their Rotary engine. So many noises, many very loud, angry, buzzy noises were heard throughout the evening. We start with Road Atlanta Club Circuit. Of course, these cars, plenty of upgrades could go into them to make them up into C-Class, so there is very much variations in how the vehicles were built. Some cars more straight line speed, some cars very handling focused. Mine, one of the more middle of the road cars, perhaps a little bit more tailored towards outright straight line speed, but overall a fairly well balanced build. I continued my good luck of Forza grid spots of being well down the order and having to try and survive a little bit of opening lap shenanigans. Someone tried to fit too wide down the hill the first time around, ended up running out of road, bumped the tyre bundle, and it's kind of a big scattering effect of RX-7s as everybody tried their best to avoid it. I did come out of it pretty damn well, having moved a fair way up the order from my starting position. Now again, you will be able to see the differences in the builds because Road Atlanta, certainly this club layout, does have a couple of decent sized straights as the white and green Mazda had to go into the braking zone. However, the red and white car with that little bit more grip is immediately able to fight back. The green car thinking about trying to go around the outside in the final turn. That's a tough place to make anything stick while I was very sideways in the background. I learned of some issues with my car. My Mazda did not like curbs in any way, shape or form. So yeah, there was some sideways stuff from the orange RX-7 around turn 1. The green car having a look, trying to get underneath the white and red, but isn't going to quite be able to make that stick by the time they get to the top of the hill. Very, very tough place going too wide. It can be done at the top of the hill, don't get me wrong, but more often than not will end in big trouble. So you're often better off lifting off the throttle and trying at, say, another point. Now, this sort of black and silver car had started with me a fair way down the order and was trying to pick his way up through the field very, very quick down the straights. But of course, the flip side of that is going to be a bit more of a struggle when we get to the corners. Sure enough, he is able to soar past just about by the time they get into the braking zone, but the white car is going to hold it around the outside. The first part is on the inside through the second part, gets the place back, if only briefly. Now we come up over that crest. It is the purple car to the inside. The purple car has the acceleration up over that hill to make the place stick, although that white car's speed around the final turn still keeps it right within distance. Now, it would be this group of cars that would be the most exciting bunch in the field. Unfortunately for me, I hit a curb at the top of the hill, got very, very twitchy, and the sim steering ended up beating me. I buried my car in a tyre bundle, and that was me dropping all the way to the back of the field. Shame, my car was going well, but it was not to be. This black and purple car got in a little bit of a tangle, dropped to the back of this group before catching back up, and then would proceed to have to try and make his way through this lot once more. And again, same overtaking spot, down into the chicane, is up the inside with that straight line speed. Now, doesn't quite have the handling to get it done. In the end, the white car runs out of road on the outside of the circuit. Does have some good acceleration. Still stuck, having to look the long way round. The very, very green car is trying to sneak up the inside. The white and red car's pushed it too far around the outside. It's across the grass. As soon as you put a win on the grass on the outside there, you can be in a big, big lot of trouble. Gets away without a big spin, but will lose 3 positions in all of that. And the purple car would get to the front of this crazy, busy little group and would be able to escape away as the rest of them would go back to fighting. The bright green car now having a look, trying to find a way past, is around the outside on the exit of the chicane, and well, the white and green car so compromised on the exit is that little bit slow, can't get on the power quite as well, loses the momentum up the hill. The red car, that'll come flying past as a sideways RX-7 through the final corner. Yeah, as you can imagine, there were a fair few in the way of sideways cars throughout all of this. At the front, much calmer. At the front, the top three would kind of escape away a little bit. You'll see second and third in the background coming into the chicane. Second and third would never really be close enough to each other to try and get an overtake, and certainly none of them close enough to do anything about the leader. Fourth also very, very much on their own throughout this race. Sometimes that is the way that it goes. Sometimes that's the way that it goes. I mean, lap time-wise, they were fairly close. The leader was slightly quicker. We're only talking a few tenths in the lap times, but yeah, when you can stay out of trouble, when you can stay in clean air, very, very helpful indeed. When you're in a group like this, not so helpful. This, the fight for the 6th place. You can just see the purple car in the distance. That's the gap they can make in a couple of laps when you're not fighting all the time. The white and green car frantically tried to pull it up in time, couldn't quite make it into the chicane. He would bury it in the gravel trap and lose a heap of positions in all of that. The bright green car trying to get the run on the inside as they leave that chicane. Tries to get up the inside of the final corner. Can't quite do it. While he did a slide around the final corner, the white and red would take the 6th place. Final corner dives are very difficult indeed at this circuit. Please Don't Eat Me would take a victory in this one. Impega in second with a miserable AK in third. A fairly lonely race for those at the front. Now, race number 2. I had some issues saving this replay, and while there were some people with replays shared, every time I tried to load them, they didn't work. The game just completely failed on loading them, so I am having to use my onboard footage. I ran out of time trying to get the replays to work, so we had to use my onboard footage from this race at Homestead, which is a little bit of a shame because for once the game was kind to me. I actually started relatively well up. My car was very good off the line. My car was very good indeed off of the line. I could get a very good jump. I made up a number of positions before we ever even got to the first corner, and my RX-7 suited this Homestead circuit. It wasn't long before we would fly past the leader and try desperately to get the car slowed down a little bit wide. Not my finest piece of braking ever, but it was enough, and I would find my RX-7 up into the lead, and it was my turn to be doing the whole escape away from the rest of the field while they are busy fighting. Not very often I get that opportunity, but there we go. And I held my lead. I got a gap. Well, of course, second place and so on would change. The gap was staying very stable up until the rain came. Up until this point, yeah, between me and second, it was remarkably similar per lap. The rain started falling, and that's when I started to struggle a little bit. Whether it was my car not quite suiting the conditions as much, whether it's me not quite being brave enough with the car, because it's kind of all a bit of experimentation going on at this stage, figuring out where the grip is, where the grip isn't, and so on. And I, well, very nearly got into trouble on the outside there. Managed to survive it all, but there we go. It was, yeah, very, very lonely up until we came towards the final stages, the closing stages of the race. Now, of course, with our races, because the replays bug out if you run to the very end of the race, it is an 8-lap race. So as we came towards the end of lap 7, I was now coming under increasing pressure, knowing I'd have to defend from the RX-7 behind. This is the one turn I really struggle with at Homestead. I just can never quite get this one right. The red car braver under brakes than I was, manages to squeeze alongside. However, we had been seeing in general I was a little faster in terms of straight line speed. He was a little bit better through the corners, and perhaps that's why helped significantly, I say helped significantly, was advantageous when the rain came falling down, and in the end stuck on the outside of the corner where I really don't want to be. But there is one more lap to go. There is just one more lap to go. So I kind of threw a little bit of caution to the wind in terms of trying to regain that lead. I had a very good run through the final chicane, and we can see my car has got that little bit more straight line speed. Now, there's not going to be anywhere to go necessarily into this first corner. He defends well, but when you do defend like that, you're going to make your car slow off of the corner. You've taken that tight line. I get a better run through the second corner, and I can get the nose of my RX-7 up alongside. Now, this helps third. This helps third massively. It was a long way back at the start of all of this battling, but as soon as we're starting to do this, third is going to catch very, very rapidly. I'm on the outside for the next corner and not able to make that position stick, but we are still there. I'm able to compromise the red car enough through the corners that he can't actually pull away from me. I'm still having to look around the outside. It's a position I do not really want to be going, but I was still finding some speed. And as we head towards the this fast right-hander. It's a big oversteering moment from the red car this time around, and I have got the run, would get the pass completed. However, there was another car with even more straight-line speed than me having a look up the inside with 3 wide into the hairpin. Now, I know what's going to happen here. I'm careful on the brakes, go for the cutback. In fact, we go for a double cutback, as with 3 wide on the way in and 3 wide on the way out with me swapping sides, and it actually worked. The massive cutback would work to get myself alongside, and we're on the inside for the fast left sweeper. Terrifying moment going through here. I try to give as much space as I can on the outside for the cars, and again, we all continue to fit through. I'm a little bit early on the brakes. Unfortunately, bad news for the poor purple car. The vehicle, the red car I was battling, we didn't realise he was following me through. He tried to get back underneath me, and just the smallest of taps was enough to send that car into the tyre bundle. I hit a curb and get on 2 wheels, which would ruin my run onto the start-finish straight, and in the end, I would end up with second. It was a dull race up until that final couple of laps, and then it was manic defending and attacking. Quite entertaining. Yuri would take victory. I could only manage second, while Kieran would end up in third. And unfortunate, after going 3 wide through about 3 corners, unfortunate it ended up with his car in the tyre bundle. Our third and final race, we would head to the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, and Forza was back to its usual trick, starting me from dead last. Yep, that was a long way for Rx-7 to have to try and work its way up through the field. However, I was on a mission. Having been to the car at Road Atlanta, having got into trouble at Homestead, I really wanted a good result. Now, winning a race from that far back on the grid, especially the relatively short races that we do in versus the community, is very difficult. But I wanted to put on a good showing for my car, and it was off to a spectacular start. In fact, this might be one of the best starts I've ever done to a race, full stop. 24th on the grid, and I had made up 10 places in a lap. 10 places in a lap at Brands Hatch Indy, one of the shortest laps that you can do. It was a phenomenal start. Just every single opportunity, every single corner I got passes done, sometimes on multiple cars. It was a phenomenal start for my RX-7, and surprisingly, I wasn't expecting my car to work so well here, but yeah, it really was. It really, really was working well around this circuit. Again, if you can get to the lead early on, you can escape away from the very busy mid-pack, and Brands Indy is well known for being incredibly, incredibly hectic. Overtaking isn't the easiest of things to be doing around this circuit, and the fairly short laps, small braking zones, and so on tend to keep the field clustered together for quite some time. This red car looking for a pass up the inside into the final corners. He will get the move completed. Just the white and blue car looks about trying to get his nose back underneath, but can't quite draw alongside through all of that as they head once more onto the back straight. You can see how busy it is further back. Yeah, it's frantic. My charge was not slowing down. My charge was really not slowing down. In towards turn 1, I'm alongside a black and turquoise car. Get the pass done through all of that. I actually get such a good run through the turn that I can not only get past one car, we're on the inside, on the way up into turn 2. The purple and white car on the outside doesn't have a chance. In fact, I very nearly opened the door for everybody to come soaring through as well. I think there's a blue and silver car tried to follow through in all of this. I managed to keep my position ahead of that purple car. The yellow car up ahead, he put a wheel a little bit out wide, slightly slow off the corner. That's 3 cars in near enough 4 corners. It's a long way round on the outside there as the yellow car tries to fight back. There's no room for all of that. The black and turquoise car has seen the overtakes going on. He falls into line behind me and would work his way through this little group as well. Yeah, it was a mad race for me. It was an absolutely bonkers race for me. Just constant lap after lap overtaking my way up through the field. My car was working well, though. My car was working very well indeed. Now, as you would expect with any race, gradually the field would start to spread out a little bit more, but there was still plenty of stuff going on throughout this. Now, this was around 14th, 15th place at this stage in the race, but everybody's still going to race very, very hard for their positions. As we head round turn 1, the yellow car, big bounce across the curb. The vehicle behind thinks about having a look up the inside into the second corner, manages to draw alongside. The yellow car sees him coming, gives him space. It's a huge sideways moment as the black and white car gets across the curb. A red vehicle pounces. We'll say thank you very much for that position. The yellow car, with a little bit of a lock-up, ends up out running wide, compromises the red car, and the vehicle we were following gets both of the position. Well, gains a position and gains back one of the positions he lost. A lot, even at a fairly simple circuit, you know, like this, a hell of a lot goes on in just a small number of corners. One of the race-long battles that would rage is white and blue car and the kind of white and black car would be fighting for position entire second half of the race, to the point at which they were slowing each other down enough that, well, I was going to come and join in this fun fairly promptly. This was all over 5th place at this stage. The blue car out a little bit wide through turn 1, gives the other vehicle that space through the first corner, gets a better run on the exit. He now goes to try and fire up the inside into the second corner, just about pulls it up in time. The other car not quite realising he was going to be positioning the vehicle there, and that's my opportunity. That's the chance for my orange Mazda to pounce. I dive up the inside of one, we're around the outside through the next corner as the blue car gets a very, very big slide, and then they go back to exactly how they were the previous lap around through this corner, although both having lost a position to my car. Certainly I did get some help in all of this. I got some help. There were opportunities that arose in front of me that I was able to make the most of in terms of moving forward, that being one of the prime examples. Again, as I said, while yes, the field did start to spread out a little bit more through the race, as ever Brands Hatch continues to be a very busy circuit. The black and turquoise car chased the opponent vehicle all the way to the inside of that white and red car. Tried to go for it, and then in changing his mind, backing out of such a manoeuvre, ends up losing the position to the purple car. The purple car's actually got a very good run down this next section, is having a look for a way past, although this final corner not the preferred overtaking spot, particularly in all of that. Further back, and again, they continued to fight for position. There tended to be sort of little clusters of cars, little groups of 3 or 4 vehicles, and then a gap as they kind of fought each other, slowed each other down, and would fall away from the cars ahead. Perhaps the vehicles behind them were fighting even more. It was a strange race, but you could just about look anywhere in this one, and there would be a lot. There would be a lot going on as this black and orange car trying to find a way past the yellow vehicle, though stuck on the outside on the way through turn 1. Not exactly where you would have, not the most comfortable of places being stuck on the outside of turn 1 there, I will be honest, especially with the knowledge that the curbs on the inside are so vicious at launch. Even these sort of cars are launching these onto 2 wheels. Very easy to have them launch on 2 wheels and just fire across the track. Either way, the black car would keep his position. These guys, yep, they were still going at it. Well, I chased off after 4th place and would move my way up into 4th. Still, the battle raged between this pair. In fact, the black and turquoise car was coming to join in this group as well as they continued to fight. Near enough every lap they were changing positions as to who was in the now, I think, 6th place at this stage. They're side by side through turn 1. Once more, that's a white and black car having to go the long way round. He was the better handling of the 2 cars. The white and blue vehicle that little bit faster in a straight line. Overall, very, very evenly matched in terms of lap speed and not really helping one another. When you're fighting this much, it doesn't help one another in terms of that outright lap pace, as now the turquoise car is there having a look, trying to see if he can get up the inside. Nowhere to really go at this particular point in the circuit. It's a huge slide from the blue car, and that's definitely not what you want as you come into the final corner. The turquoise car's not got a huge amount of places to go. There's just a sea of Mazda ahead of you. You can't put the car anywhere. You can't make it 3 wide in some places because you're just not going to be able to carry the speed to get your car to that part of the circuit. And sure enough, turquoise car's lost out a little bit coming down the start-finish straight. Blue car's now his turn to try be stucking on the outside of the first corner. It's all the way to the outside, clips the gravel, big sideways moment, manages to hold on to it without having any huge catastrophes. Black and turquoise almost sneaks up the inside of the black car and does get the pass done at turn 2. Again, those 2 managing to lose a place and resume their battles immediately as they were before the car behind them caught up. Again, it was another straightforward race at the front. The 2 leaders, having got to the lead early on, were able to drive away from the rest of the field while we were all busy engaged in massive battles. Again, you can see second place, the grey car was a lap down. You can see second place, not that far back whatsoever, but not able to get close enough to really, go for an overtake, not get close enough to be involved in a battle. So it would be, please don't hit me, that would take victory with Impega in second. A fairly lonely race for them 2. Muri in third, worked his way through the field pretty well, and I would end up 4th. I was very pleased with my 4th in that race. Having made 20 places in 12 laps at Brands Hatch Indy, I was pretty pleased with that. So many overtakes in so many different places for my car. It really did work. Didn't quite have the ultimate lap pace of the 2 leaders, although I don't think I actually had a clear lap regards to traffic, so I'm not sure. I don't think it quite perhaps had the speed of their cars, but mine did work very well indeed at cutting its way through the pack at Brands Hatch. The RX-7s were good fun. They were good fun to go racing in this, and of course, most importantly, many good noises. Many good noises indeed. That, though, is going to be it for this week's Versus the Community. The next one is going to be held on Thursday, the 15th of March. We are going to go racing with B-Class boats. That is, B-Class cars that weigh more than £4,000. If you want to sign up and take part in that, then you can via our forums. There'll be a link in the description. Find the FailRace Versus the Community section, and you can sign up in there. That's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.